Well, it happened. Celsius has paused withdrawals on their crypto site while they take steps to preserve and protect assets. If you're holding crypto on Celsius, it's unclear if you'll ever get it out of there. And when they announced this pause, they reportedly had over $12 billion worth of assets under management. It seems like the end is near for one of the biggest cryptocurrency sites that pays interest on your crypto balances. And at one point, I had over $350,000 worth of crypto on their site. Find out what happened to my Celsius holdings and what may happen to yours today on Jackace. What up, donkeys? Jack Hayes here with jackace.com, where we talk about my three favorite topics: gambling, crypto, and math. Today I'm going to talk about Celsius, a crypto company that recently announced they were pausing all withdrawals from their site. If you're not familiar with Celsius, it's one of the biggest crypto interest earning platforms out there, along with sites like BlockFi, Voyager, and Nexo. These companies supposedly take your crypto deposits and lend them to institutions and consumers at a high rate, giving you a huge cut of their revenue. Depending on the coin and how much you deposit, you can earn as much as 18% in interest annually on your holdings. Coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum could get you 5 to 7% interest, and stable coins such as Tether, USDC, and GUSD could fetch as high as 10%. And compared to earning nothing with crypto in a hardware wallet, or 0.01% in a traditional savings account, these huge returns were extremely enticing. How could you possibly ignore getting 1,000 times higher returns on your savings? Personally, I was really skeptical of holding significant amounts of crypto anywhere than in a hardware wallet. And I've talked about the 3 reasons why you should be skeptical in my video, Not Your Keys, Not Your Coin. In a nutshell, those 3 reasons are mismanagement, malice, and misconduct. So watch that other video linked in the description below. Even though I was skeptical, at the beginning of 2021, Celsius was seeming more and more legit. I saw more and more posts in social media with users showing their weekly rewards and talking about their positive experiences. And a friend of mine who told me he had 6 figures worth of crypto on their site told me he never had any problems with rewards, bonuses, or withdrawals. So I started putting small amounts of crypto into Celsius, checking the accuracy of the rewards, testing withdrawals, and understanding all the rules about withdrawing. As I felt more comfortable, my account balance grew, especially after taking advantage of several of their deposit bonuses. At one point, my Celsius account balance was about 15% of my total crypto holdings and grew in value along with the crypto market to over $350,000. And my reward payments were big too. Maybe not as big as Speedy Coral's rewards, but $300 in interest per week isn't too shabby. But it became more and more apparent that the whole operation was a house of cards getting ready to crumble. There are a few pink flags that I overlooked that were starting to become more flush. Number 1 was that they had a questionable business model. They claimed to be lending this crypto out to institutions and individuals, but I never found anyone that would come forward as a borrower. I just have a hard time believing that Celsius is able to lend out so much in crypto and stablecoins to pay out these super high interest rates. And if Celsius really is loaning out deposits en masse, I just can't believe that big institutions are collateralizing their loans the same way consumers do. If institutions are borrowing tons of money from them, I question how secure those loans really are. And number 2, most of their marketing seemed focused on getting new customers and getting people to deposit. They always seem to have a lot of deposit bonuses going on, and they had even more bonuses for new customers. Even though it's common for a company to spend a ton of money on customer acquisition, the hoops that Celsius made you jump through to withdraw and to redeem deposit bonuses just seemed way over the top. And number 3, when making a withdrawal, they seemed overly concerned with security to the point where the process was purposely difficult. And number 4, crypto FUD influencers really started focusing on Celsius and their management team and pointing out their red flags. A lot of Celsius's marketing seemed focused on getting more crypto onto the site. And this is a pretty big red flag if you're worried about it being a Ponzi scheme where new customers and new money are needed to pay off the existing base. For example, they always had a lot of deposit bonuses going on where you deposit some crypto and it's locked on their site for up to 6 months until your bonus is released. And when I say locked, I mean locked. If you made any withdrawal of that coin or token during that lock window, your rewards were vaporized. So if you started out with 1,000 coins and deposited 100 coins toward a deposit bonus, you would have to maintain an account balance of 1,100 coins for the duration of the entire lock. And if you had overlapping deposit bonuses for the same coin, That coin's account balance was locked for the full duration of all of the bonuses. You couldn't withdraw your balance from the first bonus without affecting any bonus that was still active. Another thing they did to make withdrawing difficult was they made you whitelist every destination crypto address before withdrawing. And this is pretty typical for most crypto exchanges, but Celsius implemented it in a very strange way. One additional hoop you had to jump through was that you had to wait 24 hours before using that destination address for the first time. But the weirdest hoop you had to jump through was that you had to whitelist every address, even for coins that are on the same blockchain. So even if you whitelisted your Ethereum address, you had to go through the whole process again for every ERC20 token, even if it was going to the same address. This to me just seemed like a bunch of red tape meant to slow down a run on the bank if there was any kind of existential event. But Celsius's most WTF feature is something called HODL mode. If you activated HODL mode, it required you to wait an additional 24 hours when completing a withdrawal. This was supposedly a feature to prevent someone from paper handing their crypto and withdrawing it from their site in fear when the markets crash. In my mind, the only reason this exists is to slow down an existential run on the bank. I seriously can't think of any reason to activate this feature, especially given all the rug pulls we've seen in the far and recent past. Even if you're a diamond hander, you have to recognize that the game can change in a flash and you need quick access to your coins. Anyone who has seen a coin get rug pulled would be insane to activate this asinine feature. And if you follow any of the crypto naysayers, you would have heard of Celsius's problems months ago. I follow a blogger named Bitfinex who reports on a lot of the FUD around crypto. He's pretty far on the FUD side, but he's been on point with several crypto scams, including the ongoing investigation into Bitfinex and the stablecoin Tether. And in late November 2021, Bitfinex reported that Celsius's CFO Yaron Shalem was arrested for fraud and money laundering. Shalem was arrested in Israel, where many Celsius employees are based. Even though he wasn't arrested for any activity involved with Celsius, it really speaks volumes that he was vetted by Celsius's management team. It's often the case that people who are willing to skirt the law are hired for executive positions because they're specifically willing to do so. So almost immediately after reading this news, I requested a withdrawal of all my crypto from Celsius. Since I anticipated the need to do this, I had already whitelisted destination addresses for all of my coins. And since I'm not a complete moron, I didn't have HODL mode activated. So I held my breath for the next few hours while my transfer was in transit, and I had a huge sigh of relief when the coins were successfully transferred. Throughout this experience, I was wrong about one thing. The collapse of the house of cards was not as imminent as I thought. It's a bit anticlimactic worrying about the sky falling and then waiting around for 7 months when nothing happens. And I definitely don't feel any joy that I was eventually right about this current situation with sites like Celsius and CoinFlex. But I do have a big sense of relief that I was able to dodge a bullet because I heeded the advice of one of the FUDsters. So stay informed and stay connected to the crypto community if you're going to keep crypto on a crypto site or invested in a meme coin on the brink of collapse. It was Celsius this month, it was Luna last month, and I'm pretty sure that Tether, USDT, and who knows what else will soon follow. So subscribe to that coin's Reddit sub, and follow that crypto company on Twitter. And I highly recommend following FUDsters like Bitfinex on Twitter and CoffeeZilla on YouTube. And we don't yet know the fate of the billions of dollars worth of assets under management, and we probably won't know for quite a while. There is talk about a Goldman Sachs-backed company coming in and buying Celsius for pennies on the dollar, but even if that happens, there's no guarantee that customers will be paid out in full. And even if they agree to pay a fraction of what you're owed, expect to wait months or even years before you see a penny.
You're thinking of this place all wrong, as if I had the money back in a safe. The money's not here. Well, your money's in Joe's house. That's right next to yours. And in the Kennedy house, and Mrs. Maitland's house, and 100 others.
So that's a tale of how I avoided the carnage currently happening at Celsius. I was able to get my crypto off the site, and hopefully you were too. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, remember to like and subscribe. Always crypto responsibly, and peace out, donkeys.